All right, Geek Outings. Here to do Rick and Morty season 4, episode 2. I don't know what it's called, but it's probably the worst one of the season. Editor coming from San Antonio, Texas.
Hey, Bobby Joel here. As always, coming to you live from Santa Monica, California. Probably not live when you're watching this after it's gone through editor's hands. And if I might be mistaken, but I think the name of the episode is The Old Man in the Seat.
What up? It is Boba Fresh, aka Rob Strotter, coming from San Francisco.
Rob Lucey, Loose Dog, coming at you from Southern Oregon. Couple things, spoilers ahead. So if you haven't seen Rick and Morty, season 4, episode 2, The Seat, get to that. And congratulations to the Kansas City Chiefs, Super Bowl champions.
I'd also like to point out that this is Lucey's first episode he's ever watched.
I popped my Rick and Morty cherry.
Yeah,
I guess.
I mean, it's kind of funny that you recommend, or you're talking about it, but it's only an episode you've ever seen. But thank you. Yeah. We got you to watch one finally. So I think the fun of this will be watching you. So the episode is basically about Rick being a shy shitter, going on a solo mission without Ron Howard, and what's his name? Gluty? I'm rocking the mustache in honor of Gluty, by the way.
You know what? Before we jump into the newcomers' point, to build off of what you said, the main story is Rick being a shy shitter, which I think we can all relate to in just a little bit. But it's funny because I rewatched the episode just prior to doing this, just to get it refreshed in my head. And so there's 3 different plot lines, A, B, and C. So you have Rick's main one, then you have Jerry's plot line, which involves Gluty, which is also going along the whole time, and then Summer's plot line, which is like, it's so random that they try to have all these 3 stories going on, which were all like very interesting concepts. Of course, Jerry fucks up. But anyway, yeah, I digress. 3 plot lines. So I want to see what
you saying that did make me think of something. Is Gluty short for Gluteus Maximus, and that's another relation into the toilet thing?
Yeah.
I just realized that when you said that, Bobby.
Yes, he's got 6 butts on his back.
I saw that.
He's talking out of an asshole.
I thought they were like nipple tits. But Lucy, what did you think of the episode?
I was not impressed.
Did anything make you laugh?
You guys might have overhyped it. And then the dating app thing, it was like, oh, don't make an app. And then this guy's like, oh, I guess I gotta make the app then, don't I? It was, I just was like, and I did see it for the first time, but I'm not compelled to watch another episode, or maybe I'm compelled because that's as bad as it gets. I don't know. It was just not impressive. I was not impressed whatsoever.
Oh, I got you. The Emperor reference. You didn't like that at least?
Okay, so there was some like they had some little jokes inside a joke. So yeah, was he like Darth Vader? Was the Gluteus Maximus Emperor like Emperor Palpatine or Darth Vader? They kind of had him like in that. I thought it was kind of clever that they put a Star Wars kind of like, they inserted that into the episode.
Well, I mean, Lucy, that's like the beauty of the show is that it's not about anything. It's like Seinfeld times 1,000, and then everything is just kind of a reference or an inside joke. So the more you watch it, the more you start enjoying it. I hated this episode, but I've watched it more now, and now I'm starting to get a few little nuggets here and there.
I will say, I think starting with this as your first episode is kind of like jumping into The Simpsons in season 7. Like, they'll tell more stories about the town than they will about The Simpsons themselves. And so kind of in that light, all the characters and what they do and what we anticipate them to do has already been established. So a lot of the joke, kind of, I guess, like later seasons of The Office with Michael Scott, it's not what the punchline is. It's like the discomfort of what you know is about to come. So with that said, this episode doesn't focus on the strength of the show, which in my opinion is the interaction of all of the family members together. Specifically, it has very little Rick and Morty. It is a Rick and Jerry episode, which Jerry even says at one point. He's like, hey, it looks like Adventures of Rick and Jerry, right? He's like, just shut up. We wouldn't be in this if it wasn't for you, all right?
You know what I really appreciated about the episode is we get to see Rick being Rick. And you know what it is? It's the thing where like he just inserts himself into the robot lizard war and he shrugs it all off like someone that has beaten a game and has gone back after he's had all the power-ups and has all his secret weapons like stashed away. And like all these people that are supposed to be like big bosses, he just manhandles like they're like little nuisances and just eviscerates people just to, and it's like it's nothing to him. He's like, oh shit, gotta do this. No, I think that is what makes Rick Rick. That like, you know, he's unbeatable. He's the smartest man and most, you know.
I'm glad you said that because I think you're totally right. But then like to like add on to that, I think you're seeing Rick vulnerable at times as well, especially once Tony mentions like his wife died, even though he was lying.
Yeah.
You see him pause for a second, you know what I mean? You get to, and then definitely at the end when he's on the toilet, it's like the king of shit, well, he's the big doo-doo daddy, and it's like all the insults he meant for that dude are coming at him, and it's really what he's saying to himself anyway.
Yeah.
Like
when Tony died,
but
Tony died living life to the fullest after he talked to Rick about it. Yeah.
So
when Tony gets
Morty's his grandson?
Yes.
Okay. And so his dad's the idiot, and Morty's his grandson.
The blonde wife, Beth, is his daughter.
Okay. Okay, the son-in-law's the idiot.
Yeah.
And also, like we were talking about Reed Richards earlier, and I think because Bobby has his hairstyle, is that like he's Reed Richards, right? He can figure everything out. You see him; he has a fucking robot deer as a latch to get down to the center of the planet to figure out who shit in his toilet. He can, he can travel through time to grab the guy's earlier version of himself to see whether or not his wife is dead.
He reconstructed the sandwich.
He literally can do anything he wants, like Reed Richards. But as soon as the wife got brought up, you can't escape that. And so maybe it is about love, and it is about like fleeting and things and moments and stuff like that.
So that I think then goes into the B plot line, which then has two divergence, where the whole story is about love, right? Like the whole story is about love. Because now Love Finders is about the exact opposite of what Rick has lost and what Tony has lost, this one monogamous true love that they can't go on without. Instead, on the other end, you have infinite amount of love partners. Everyone is in this new dating world where it's not the old archaic setup of our parents, quote unquote, monogamous, you have to stay married. I come from a divorced household. So, I mean, how much does that system hold up? When put into light with Love Finders or Tinder or whatever you may have, and you find love every day, like that option is out there every day, and it's an infinite resource where water isn't, which I thought was like kind of a cool, little nod.
How much does it highlight that Jerry is truly like the one of the most tragic characters, that his dream when he drank the Matrix juice was to be a water delivery guy that just brought water to people. He had 900 more deliveries to start. That's all he wanted, to be like, that was his way of being happy in life.
Hold on, Lucy. Lucy, do you even know about the stingers?
No.
That's what I thought.
Oh.
Yeah, every episode has a stinger. You got to wait for it.
Yeah, you got to watch the credits.
It's a whole other level of stupidity that ties into everything. That's usually very partially part of the episode in the bigger tapestry.
Well, okay, so first-time viewer, Rick is interesting in that he's like omnipotent and godlike, but very cynical at the same time. Like,
Isn't that a quality of a god?
Being cynical?
You were raised and seen everything.
You were raised Catholic, weren't you, Ed?
No, no, maybe vengeful, but I don't think cynicism is.
I gotta go watch.
You would hope that your god's not cynical.
God, I can't believe I fucking wasted 6 days on this shit. All right.
I knew I couldn't get it done in time.
One thing that stands out to me from that episode, though, is when he goes and there's a fly that's in charge of the bar.
Yeah.
I'm glad you went there. You want to eat me so bad right now, don't you?
Like the whole time.
Ribbit.
And then he's like, "Hey, I have your kid, and your kid is dead." He's like, "I have 450,000 of them." You have 450,000 new voicemails.
Funny is that concept, a fly that owns a restaurant that serves frogs.
Dude, his lines are amazing. He's on a frog planet selling drugs and guns with a fly chick and a bunch of frog dudes around him like, you want to eat me, don't you? Here, shut up. It's like Garbo in fucking like mid-90s. Garbo, shout out.
So let me ask you this. So most of the other episodes, it's Rick and Morty together.
Yeah,
like,
different
on
dynamic.
some kind of random
This was
adventure.
totally absent of Rick and Morty magic, yeah.
Yeah, if anything, I think they tried to make something different than expected because, like, you've been waiting for season 4, and you know it goes back to normal after this. But I guess in the scheme of things, when you watch everything over, it's nice to get a breather, and that's a breather. It's also called filler. Once again.
Oh, I was about to say, you think it's a filler episode?
Yeah.
I mean, they've got a 75 episode contract.
Yeah. I'm gonna daughter your brains out, bitch. How about that?
I thought that was actually really cool too. The up until this episode, Beth has been a very questionable mother. So I thought that the fight over love, like the fight over, especially this kind of overbearing love of I'm going to mother you to death and I'm going to daughter the shit out of you. And then that kind of, not necessarily parallels, but it echoes the Emperor alien on the ship who's married to his mother, and like this whole complicated concept. Again, this episode is all about love. It's about mother-daughter love, husband-wife love, all of these like weird, complicated relationships that we end up having with love. And I thought that was, as short as it was, a very cool way to kind of ram in the helicopter mom.
What I liked, not to get off of, what is a very deep mother-daughter love subject, but the line when they're fighting outside the motel, and so they're like, she's like, I'm being abused, and then so Beth goes, statutory rape, and the guy opens the window and goes, hey, you're at a motel. No one's here life is going well enough that they want to get messed up in your stuff. Just like, go away.
I
I was
thought
like,
that was
wow.
That was just a nugget.
And that reminded me of the time that we visited Lucey up in Medford and we stayed, Bobby, remember we stayed at that motel?
Yeah, we got the Rogues Suite.
The Rogue Suite up in Medford. That's exactly what that scene reminded me
The
of.
Red Carpet Inn.
So, Lucy, 1 to 10, what do you give that episode? And then later we can ask you after we watch more, because it might get a better place for you.
I mean, it's a 5. It's like right down the middle of the road. I've seen worse shit. I've seen better shit. Okay, first time Rick and Morty watcher. First episode I've ever seen. The only episode I've ever seen. It's been hyped. I appreciate the points you guys are making. But on an enjoyment scale on Lucy's ladder of 10 rings, I'm only halfway up the ladder, man. I only got 2 of 5.
But it's still enjoyable because it's true to the characters and you get to see them being them. So, I mean, it's, I'll give it that. But, as for, talking to you that hasn't seen many more episodes, or any more episodes, keep watching, because if you enjoyed that one, you're going to love the shit out of them. And I know about the danger of overhyping. I feel safe saying that.
So based on what you just said, what Rob said earlier, I need to know the characters a little bit more.
It helps. It totally enriches the experience. Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
it's not a bad episode, but in light of wanting to enjoy it and wanting you to enjoy this world, it just wasn't a strong episode. It was good for the series in the sense that we don't need 70 episodes of Rick right next to Morty. Like, it's cool to shake it up and to give us these different combinations and these different storylines that end up happening, because it would get repetitious. It would get boring. Simpsons, we do need to go see more of Springfield at some point. But for a first episode, I definitely think that I would have suggested something out of the first season, if not actually the beginning of season 3. But even that, I think, kind of rushes too much into Jerry's story.
All right, let's close out. So I think we got enough milk out of that rock. I'd also like to say we got Taiwan Robeson to start watching Rick and Morty.
Hi.
The last one. So hopefully this. Yeah. So we'll be going through Lucey's little virgin cherry eyes throughout the rest of the season and throughout the series.
Let's have Ty on this.
Taiwan, we're doing this for you. You're our market. You're our target demographic. And if we get you, we have succeeded.
Okay.
It didn't come from San Antonio, somewhere in there.
All right.
It was
Hey,
like-
as always, it's been super fun. Thanks for geeking out with us. Bobby Joel here in Santa Monica, California. And can't wait to talk to you guys about the next episode of Rick and Morty that we review. The next thing we get to geek out on. So keep on geeking on.
Rob Lucey signing off from Southern Oregon. To summarize, that was a shitty episode. Look forward to more geeking out. Peace.
That was a poop joke, people. If you missed it, it was a poop joke. This is Boba Fresh out from San Francisco. What